practice yesterday. Just a lot of excitement around the program right now. A lot of eager players to get started with 20-hour-a-week segment and get going, and probably even more eager to Friday be out in front of Husker Nation again, and to have our fans be able to get a kind of a sneak peek of our team, get introduced to our roster, and enjoy a really fun night and a fun weekend in Lincoln, Nebraska coming this weekend.
Coach, obviously it was a while ago, but how beneficial just was the Greece trip to you guys, just getting to know one another and spending time together?
Yeah, I think that was we're so grateful for the opportunity. It was just an amazing trip. It was an amazing shared experience that we learned a lot about each other, and maybe just as valuable as the 10 practices that you get to prep for Greece. And we didn't have a lot of male practice players available to us in the summer, so there was a lot of time to go up against each other, and it was a pretty competitive summer, and I think just a really good experience for our team, and we pulled a lot from that, and so we're going to lean on that as we get started here early with a really challenging schedule.
What was one of the biggest things that you learned about your squad over that time?
I think that it's a group that I know is going to compete and then celebrate each other's successes. And from my experiences, those two things in combination really lead to good things for culture. And if you have teams that want to get after it and compete and can be competitive, but still really be excited for each other when they're doing well, that usually equates to really good things down the stretch.
What are the restrictions with Allison with her knee right now?
No restrictions other than we've just been trying to be really smart about watching her load levels and ease her into full load, just to keep her from getting too fatigued as we're working her in. But she's full contact and doing every drill that everybody on our team is doing, just monitoring that load and trying to keep her at a certain level as we kind of bump it up week by week.
How, obviously it's, September 26th, but how have you seen the chemistry with this new group come together after losing a couple starters from last season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those two starters have been a huge part of our culture for the last 4 years, and so there's no way to really replace Sam Hybe and Izzy Bourne. But what I've seen is just great leadership emerging from players like Jazz Shelley and Maddie and Ani Stewart, and just several other of our returning players just really kind of stepping up and learning how to be vocal as leaders and understand what Alexis Markowski, just understanding like what we want this program, this team, this season to look like, and being able to be vocal about that with our newcomers it's been really special to watch.
Big focus during the preseason?
Our big focus is to lock in defensively, and I think the girls can kind of feel it, and we've been probably committing a little more of our practice plan towards defense than we've done in the past, but trying to increase our focus on being a pretty intense team on that side of the ball, and so that's something we really want to pay attention to heading into the preseason games.
How much did the Greece trip allow you to kind of be ahead at this point of the season already in your preparation?
Yeah, I mean, I think in some regards it really has. Those extra 10 practices, it's the first practice yesterday. We were doing a lot of things more advanced than what we were a year ago on our first practice. There's no doubt about that, but I think, we still have some things, Jess Petrie, who's our freshman Australian incoming, was training and playing in the World Championships this summer. And so these are still her first practices. And so it's kind of really good for her, a player like her, to have everybody else on the team that kind of has had a little bit of repetition on some of the things, and they can all kind of pull her over to the side and be able to help coach her up and get her up to speed. It helps that she's a really high IQ basketball player and picks things up very quickly, and but just trying to kind of mesh some of the new pieces still, even though we had those extra games and practices this summer.
Going off that, what have been your impressions of Dimitri as, she had to join a little later this summer?
Yeah, I'm super excited about her. I think she is, as I mentioned, just really a high IQ, and she's picking up different terminology very, very quickly, and she's had a lot of really good basketball experiences and played for some really competitive teams, so that has allowed her to adjust easily and quickly, and so just really excited about her abilities to be coachable and adjust and fit in and mesh with our team both on and off the court quickly.
How important has that Australian pipeline been for you in your program?
Well, I mean, I think you can just look at the fact that, Jazz Shelley was a first-team all-conference player last year. Izzy Bourne, an honorable mention all-conference player, on our record books for all-time rebounders, and no doubt about it that we've had some great players come through our program from there, and we're going to continue to have some great players come through our program from there. So definitely something that we'll want to keep that pipeline coming.
When it comes to Jazz, when she was making her decision last year, how nervous were you through that? How relieved were you when she announced that? And how much does that really raise the expectations of this year's team?
To be honest with you, obviously we were really very, very excited when I still have kind of some of the pictures and celebration videos from my office when she told us that she was officially coming back. But we care about Jazz as a young woman, and so we were going to be supportive of her just like we were Izzy Bourne with whatever decision was made. But now that she is a Husker for another year, we are even more excited to, I think our team obviously is going to benefit from having her leadership and her abilities on the court. But in addition to that, we take it very serious that we're focused on helping her develop and lead this team to where she wants so that she can get the experiences that she came back for.
Your impressions of Dariana White so far being grad transfer?
Yeah, she is a pistol. She's just kind of a little water bug. She has just pushed pace. She is picking up offense quickly. She plays on both sides of the ball almost every time that everybody else on our team is kind of fatigued and their tongue is hanging out of the side of their mouth. She's just still going, just bouncing around. And when we maybe have struggled a couple possessions offensively, she's going to make a play, get a steal on defense, go down and lay it up. She just has a knack for making plays, and really think she's going to play a big, huge role for us, and excited that she's part of the program.
What's it been like working with Julian?
Yeah, Julian is high energy, so it's super fun. He complements our staff really, really well. He's just full of energy and juice, and he brings that to practice every day. And I think just a really, really good compliment for our team as a mentor and as a as a dad, and it just does a great job of just filling in with our staff and picking up some things that complement the rest of us.
Amy, what do you just like about this team so far?
What I like about them is that they want to work, and they still know how to have fun, and so I think that's something that is, when they know what it takes, but yet can still come in with joy on their faces, and that they're having fun, and that they can smile and laugh mistakes off and be able to move on to the next play. I think that's been the most enjoyable part so far.
When you reflect on last year's season, when you lost Allison, what did you miss most about not having her out there, and how much can she really toughen your team now that she's back?
Yeah, Allison just sets the tone, and I think that's what we missed most. I mean, her ability to kind of get up and hound defensively and put some pressure on, and that it really kind of inspires the rest of her teammates to do the same and to play with that same level of intensity. But when you look at our win at Maryland last year, and she had a double-double and was, led our team in rebounding and was just all over the place, rebounding down the floor, making plays, pushing tempo, creating shots for, Jazz hit a bunch of threes in the second half of that game, but most of it was Allison led because she would rebound and really collapse defense and then kick out and find Jazz in moments. So I think, players like Jazz benefited from playing with Allison. Players like Alexis Markowski benefited from playing with Allison. And so I think just having her back and the things that she does well and gaining confidence each and every day, it makes a huge difference for the rest of our roster.
I know you can't speak for her, but did you feel like you had to keep her spirits up at all last year when she was going through that, or did she stay pretty positive from what you saw?
I was thrilled with the way she approached it, and yes, I've been through knee injuries myself, and personally, and with several players that I've coached, and so there are certain things that I'm kind of on the lookout for, and things that we try to prep for, and that I had plenty of conversations throughout it about just the mental approach to recovering from an injury like that. I think all of that probably helps, but in the grand scheme of things, that kid is one hard-nosed, tough-nosed, competitive kid, and I had no doubt that she was going to approach her rehab with the same competitive spirit that she has every race she ran as a track athlete, every basketball game she's played, every sporting event she gets into. It doesn't matter if we're playing sand volleyball against our softball team. Allison's going to come out there to win, and I love that about her. But that's the same approach she had with her rehab.
I mean, given kind of the disappointing way last season ended, do you sense any, extra little chip, extra motivation of some of the players who are back and kind of want to right the ship this year?
Yeah, I think so. And obviously, we were disappointed to not be in the NCAA tournament, but we also had a couple of postseason wins last year. So I think to really talk about the disappointing way that the season ended, I think I'm proud of the way that we were able to fight through and advance to a Sweet 16 of a postseason tournament. But obviously, I think our team is really motivated to show that we deserve to be playing in the NCAA tournament, and that's something that we're going to have to prove every single day. Today, this afternoon, when I go to practice, I mean, it takes what it takes to be in that tournament field, and that's what the message will be today at practice. It's what it's going to be next week at practice. It's going to be the message when we play Maryland to open our Big Ten slate. It's going to be, every single game on our schedule is just, we have to bring that every day.
Does it feel early to you to be talking about basketball in September?
It kind of does. It kind of does. But I think our players are super eager. Coaches always feel like, oh, we're going to play in front of fans on Friday. So we definitely have some things that we probably need to sharpen up before then. But so excited about it. So excited. It'll be here November, first game before we know it. So.
Amy, you mentioned Maddie kind of moving into more of a leadership role. Is that more due to her kind of having a year under her belt in the program now and kind of being settled?
Yeah, I think so. And the fact that Maddie Kroll is the only player on our roster who's played in a Sweet 16. I mean, she has earned that with the experiences that she's had before she got to Nebraska and now that she's been here. And she played a lot of minutes for us last year because she does the little things right. And the players respect that when they watch her do all those little things right every day in practice. And so she's just got more confidence in our schemes and defensive schemes and wherever everybody's supposed to be. So she's pretty vocal about directing everybody where they're supposed to be and helping them get there. And she just has a calmness about her that her teammates respect. A competitive spirit, and that equates well to really good leadership.
Anything else for Coach William?
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
No, it doesn't change anything. Yeah, it's great. They're going tonight. You can do whatever you want. These are not me. Go wherever. No, yeah, if they, that's what. So, yeah, Fred's out. Right after the coach. Your Fred's gone. Yeah, we gotta be there. 210. That's 210. Tomorrow is great. Got it.
Yeah.
I've been there twice for those games.
Not a fan.
But it's been they're just so used to it was strange. Yeah, I'm teaching this fall to Jesus and trying to like them. And right now, she's still. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's Monday to Friday. That was a choice. Yeah. Which days it felt.
Let's football's by because last year.
So it's Tuesday, defense, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yep.
No, sir, thank you.
Sunday or like walk, post game Sunday. Then their first day of the week. So that's why he put out the Sunday off and then come to 10 I was
Yeah, usually hit at the wrong time when somebody's in.
I know, and I'm glad to. I know. I know. I'm excited. Oh, and that's like.
Purdue and Indiana this weekend. Jordan Larson arrives this week to begin coaching. Hope to have her after practice tomorrow night.
You guys good? Still see a lot of doing of this. I can feel the electricity in here. We got pizza today. Jeez. You just feel it's a championship day in here. Week 2 of the Big Ten. My job this week is to get our team to understand we've got 2 really tough matches on the road, how to prepare, how to go into those places. I think both are sold out. And that's what we're going to focus on this week.
So that was the one thing that non-conference didn't really prepare you for was the road venues in the Big Ten. What do you do to get them ready for that?
We just talked to them about what to expect, and Kansas State gave us the best feel for that because we're actually playing in 2 small gyms like K-State, so that worked out well for us. So, we've already got experience doing that, so we can refer back to that. But it's just, again, getting them the mindset going on the road.
Is Lindsay back up to full speed, full health
Yeah.
again? I mean, so playing time for her is based on what's happening in the practice gym between her and Allie. Is that how you?
Yep, they'll compete this week. Yep.
What have you seen from Allie with the opportunity she was given the past weekend to play both those matches to kind of showcase her skills?
Well, Friday she put on a blocking clinic like I've never seen from a left side blocker, so that was huge. Even though she didn't hit very well, but she had some tough sets. And then I just thought Sunday was, she was really, really good. First 2 games was killing balls and blocking, passing well. So she was doing a nice job. But those guys are competing. As some other positions.
Those 3 players on the national team, it's been kind of normal to have 3 Nebraska players on there. Is there anything that's still surprising about that accomplishment or satisfying for you as a coach?
I haven't thought much about it, but we had some recruits this weekend, and they noticed it and mentioned it, and like one of them said, does anybody ever get upset that there's so many Nebraska players on the USA team all the time? And I said no. I think Nebraska, this experience here prepares them for the world stage, and playing in front of a big crowd and how we train and how we take care of our athletes here, what we call training the complete athlete. So we're preparing them just like all these professors here are supposed to prepare these guys to be able to go out in the workforce and get great jobs, prepare great writers in the School of J. And our job is to prepare these guys if they want to be pros, how to be able to go and manage and handle all that, because it's a tough life, really tough.
Does that give you? Karch said this week that the 3 players on the team were kind of the backbone of the top passers on that team. Does that give you pride knowing that the former Huskers are still carrying that block and defense to the international level?
Most definitely. It reaffirms what we're doing here at training. It also fires me up because we got to pass better with this group. So be good to have Jordan back here, help these guys a little bit.
What's that going to do for your team, John?
I don't know. Jordan's like, what do you want me to do? I mean, this is going to be a work in progress, how to incorporate her back in. The good news is she's been staying in touch via Zoom wherever she's been in the world. So we have a connection. The players have a connection with her. So I got to figure out how to best use her. And again, it's just it's like adding another person to the coaching staff, the family. Just how to get the most out of her and her feel comfortable.
Idea what that is right now?
Well, we're meeting here shortly, so I've made an outline. We're going to go through and just, I don't know. I mean, Jordan just got off a plane from Poland, so but she's used to that. So she hasn't been coaching, but she has been leading and she's been following us. So we got to sit down and figure out where how we're going to do this, what she feels comfortable.
Regardless of whatever her role is, how excited are you to have her here? Instead of being over Zoom and text and stuff, she's in the building.
Well, I'm fired up. She's another Husker. She's a great player. She wants to be a coach. She wants to be at Nebraska. She's very passionate about coaching. And so that energy and that fire, whatever you want to call it, is contagious. And I'm excited to be around somebody that's really passionate about Nebraska volleyball. It's just going to help build our energy, build our culture, all those things. And she's got a lot of wisdom to tap into, a lot. She's got experiences none of us have.
Is she Zooming with you, with the coaches, with the players?
Just outside hitters, yeah. She watches practice, watches video, and then our system we have, volumetrics, you can actually just like this play, tag it, and like say, hey, she can get on there and say, go look at this, and she can write notes. And that's how USA does a lot of their communication with their players, especially when they're overseas on different club teams. Karch and those guys are watching video and sending them notes, and so Jordan does the same thing with us. Now today I'll sit down. I don't mark our video. I sit down, but I have a plan on what I'm going to show them, the players I watch video with today. So there's two ways to do it. You can tag it and send it, or just sit down with them and do it in person. But when you're overseas, it's a great option. And Volumetrics, for your information, is owned by Huddle. I did set up that meeting between Volumetrics and David Graff and Huddle to acquire that company because they didn't have volleyball. And this would be a great story to talk to him because David Graff actually got fired by Seamus McKnight as our sports information director. Nate's lasted the longest, and he went out. Next thing I know, he comes back and says, we want to do video for volleyball. So I went through it all, how we do it and everything, because I guess he didn't learn anything when he was sports information. And he said, this is too complicated. And then he went over to Bill Callahan, and that's how Huddle started. Now it's a $1 billion company now. So it's a great story. Just trying to help you guys out, trying to win awards. Win awards and get bonuses for you guys. Anything else?
Yeah, Coach, I have a question. For a long time, it's been true in football where guys will start playing football when they're maybe a little older, not when they're 8 or 9 years old, and they'll make that adjustment and that jump really quickly. I wonder how similar that is to Andy Jackson. I know she hasn't played volleyball maybe quite as much as some of her teammates, and yet her impact on the court right away as a true freshman is profound. And what have you seen in the trend of the sport, moving more toward athletes being able to move into the sport later in their life and learn the sport quickly?
Well, I'll still say multi-sport athletes end up being the best. And if you look at our All-American wall, most of them are multi-sport athletes. Andy was a multi-sport athlete. Andy's big break, though, came when she made the USA team, and she got to go through an experience. I don't remember what the tournament was. It was a championship or what it was, but she got to play high level against some of the best players in the world at her age group. And I think that's what really, because high school wasn't going to do it, club wasn't going to do it, and then she got here, in January. So those two experiences coming early and then making that USA team, that's what really helped her say, oh, this is how this is what I can do and how I got to do it. And she still has a long way to go. If you really watch a video with her, she makes a lot of mistakes, but she does it going 100 miles an hour. And that's, I think if you ask Coach Rule the same thing, if he's got guys making mistakes, as long as they're going 100 miles an hour, it's okay.
Have you measured how high she jumps?
It's like 10-8 or something like that.
John, what are some of the challenges that Purdue will pose to you on Friday?
Just like all the Big Ten teams, they're well coached. They've got great players. They got a great environment to play in, and it's Indiana's the same way. All these teams, they got talent and they're coached, and so you've got to bring your A game.
Okay.
All right, guys, thanks.
feel free to sit and then we'll take some questions.
Yeah, so just, first of all, just want to say how much of a joy this team has been to work with. And first 2 official days of practice, it's not like it used to be in the old days when I was playing where you had your whole summer to basically play pickup. You had no access to the coaches. And then once October 15th hit, there was such an excitement in the air to start practice, and you got 2 weeks, and then you were playing games. Now, with the summer access that we have, especially when you have a foreign trip like we did to Spain, we feel like we've got a lot of things in. And then you have the 4 hours that we had in the fall, access to the players. So even though this is only the second official day, we feel that we've been around this group, obviously, for a long time and spent a lot of quality time with them and had a really good trip with them in Spain, which I know I've talked about in the past. One thing that I've really been impressed with this group is the competitive spirit. Every day you know exactly what you're going to get from these guys. There's a physicality with this group. There's a lot of experience with this group. We have 9 players on our roster that have 4 years or more experience. We have the oldest team in the Big Ten, and that matters. These guys are battle-tested. A lot of them have played postseason basketball. We have 2 players in Rink Mast and Josiah Alec that were both second in their respective leagues in rebounding. Jawan Gary, back healthy again this year, is one of the elite offensive rebounders in the country. Bryce Williams, with his size at 6'8", gives us great versatility all over the floor. And then getting Casey back, we've been very careful with Casey from a load management standpoint. He's had a very grueling summer, so we've taken it very slow with Casey. Yesterday was his first full contact practice since he returned from the World Cup. As soon as he finished with the pre-draft process, when he put his name in the draft, he had to work out with the Pacers. He went straight to Japan and started working with his national team. And he survived 3 rounds of cuts and was one of 5 players in the NCAA that played for his national team, and the only one that averaged double figures. And really, the 2 wins that were important to help them qualify for the Olympics, Casey was a huge part of those wins, and especially in the clincher where he had 22 points, 16 of those in the first half, I think in 8 minutes. So, it's great to have him back on the floor. But again, this group, we've got 3 teams of 5 right now that are playing, and they're all equal. And that's fun. We've got depth, more depth than any team certainly that we've had since we've been at Nebraska, and we've got the size and versatility to play a lot of different combinations on the floor. We can play some smaller groups, we can play big, we can play gigantic if we really want to, which I've never been huge on, but this team has some skill across the board. And when you look at the percentages of our three-point shooting with the guys that we're going to have on the floor in our rotation this year, majority of them have been 35+% three-point shooters. So just really excited about this group. And again, when you have a team that you know what you're going to get, it just makes our job so much easier, and it makes our job a lot more enjoyable when you have a group on the floor that shows up every time they step on it.
You mentioned the physicality and the competitive spirit with this group. I know you had the returning nucleus that went through all that last year, but then when you're recruiting through the portal and the guys you brought in, how much of an emphasis was that, and then also staying old and having that veteran presence with the group?
Yeah, I think one thing that, and I've heard from a lot of people over the summer, just how much fun they had watching our group last year. And I know I talked about that early in the preseason, that this was a team I thought that our fan base could really get behind and be proud of, whether you win or lose. They were going to be a team that left everything out on the floor. And I talked to our staff about getting the same makeup of player. And, the good thing is, not only do we get those kind of guys, but we also got a lot of players in the portal, 5 of them that fit how we play. We got 2 freshmen, and Eli Rice, who's had a great summer, and Matar Jop, who I think you saw if you were in the gym this morning. We haven't had that type of athlete. Jawan Gary went up, had a clear path to the rim today, and Matar went up and caught it with 2 hands. So we have rim protection with Matar. Now, he's got a long ways to go from a skill set, but he does things you just flat out can't teach on the basketball floor. So when we talk to our staff, we just want to continue with the type of player that we had in our program last year. And I know we've talked about this. Had we stayed healthy last year, I think we would have had a great chance to be a NCAA tournament team because we had that grit, we had a defensive mindset and identity, and we wanted to get that same group of guys in here this year. And so far, That's exactly what I've seen with more size and with more versatility on the floor. So, yeah, to answer your question, Robin, 100%. We wanted to identify the guys that fit with what this fan base can rally behind, get behind, and be proud of when they step on the floor.
Speaking of rim protection, how's Blaze?
Blaze is right now. We're being very cautious with him. He's got 2 more weeks. He's going to get another scan on his ankle. So he's the only guy right now not on the floor. Ramel had a situation in practice yesterday, and we're being cautious with him as well. That's why he was not on the floor today. But Blaze, yeah, he's been the one guy that is still healing from the surgery that he had in the offseason, and still has some soreness in that ankle. So we're just being careful. We're shutting him down to quiet the foot down, and we'll have more info in a couple weeks when we get the next scan.
Concerning or expected?
Well, it's, I think, a little bit of both, Amy. He and Josiah had their surgeries around the same time, and Josiah got cleared. He had his first full contact day of practice yesterday as well. And, so they've had, but everybody heals differently. So, it is a little disappointing not to have him out there, but not totally unexpected, just based on how different guys heal. And they had a very similar type injury and surgery. So, Joe has obviously healed very quickly, and his rehab has gone according to plan. Where Blaze is taking a little bit longer. And, hopefully we get him back out there soon, because he was a huge part of some of the late season success until he got hurt in that Maryland game at the end of the year.
Fred, what's kind of the goal for this season? I mean, do you think that this year is the year where making the tournament is the standard? I mean, do you guys have the team for that?
Yeah, I think we've got the makeup of a team that certainly can play in the postseason, and our goal is to get better every day. The old coach cliche, it's about going out there and improving as a team. The togetherness, this sticking together through adversity, that's what I think will define this team. We showed a lot of grit out there on the floor, but when things have gotten a little difficult in the few practices that we've had, we got to stay together. You can't have 5 guys going off in different directions. And that was a big message that we talked to our team about after practice today. And I think it's the type of guys that are going to do that. It's another team, I think, that saw how important the chemistry that we built, the culture that we built, that took us through the tough times and battled us through the adversity that we had, losing 2 starters in January, to continue to fight and battle and play probably our best basketball at the end of the season. So this team has a lot of those same players back, over 50% of our scoring, I believe, from last year's team, and then some key additions with the same type of makeup with our guys. So it's, again, it's been a fun team to coach in the early stages, and, just need to continue to get better.
You guys handling Aaron Nicholas in his current situation?
Yeah, we're continuing to work through the NCAA side of things, Robin, and that's really all I can say about it at this point. We don't have a time frame on when we will know, but Aaron's continuing to practice. I've really enjoyed being around him. He's a wonderful kid, and he's continued to work hard and just go out there and worry about what he can control. So, as far as a time frame, we just don't have anything with that right now, but we're continuing to monitor, obviously, on a daily basis.
Boogie jump in.
Yeah, Boogie, it's tough. We did a Zoom call with Boogie in Barcelona. I think it was 1 a.m. over there, and we were very fortunate to get a player of his caliber that late in the game. He has got an unbelievable feel for the game. His ability to pass, come to a jump stop, see the skip, pass. He's throwing the skip in transition, which is a big emphasis for our team. But that's the thing I've been most impressed with. He's been over a 35% three-point shooter, but his feel, IQ, playmaking has been the thing that I've been most impressed with. And also he's shown great leadership. This is his 6th year in college basketball following the Derek Walker plan. So he's just continues every day, I think, to get more comfortable in the system. But, we run a read and react type offense. It's a spread offense with I don't want our guys being robots. I want them being basketball players. And Boogie factors huge into that type of system because he has a tremendous basketball IQ.
For a second, other programs, if in a similar situation, would just let him hit the door. Why is it important to you to support him?
Yeah, and we've talked with the administration about this, and Aaron's got 2 years of eligibility, and again, he's been an absolute joy to be around and really fun to coach. And we're still gathering information, Amy. I think that's a big part of it. This, thing is not over as far as, what the penalty will end up being or, what the final outcome is going to be. So we're going to continue to support him. He's been a great resource for some of our younger players. He's been in the league. He's been a starter in this league, and he's been really good for our younger guys. So we're going to continue to support him throughout this process, and hopefully we'll continue to get information as the process plays out.
We talked to Bryce Williams yesterday, and he said that, what he played at in Charlotte offensively is just completely different than what he's being asked to do right now. How have you seen that transition with Bryce?
Yeah, it is. It's a positionless system. It's a spread offense. It's very much how a lot of NBA teams are playing right now with the read and react and trying to find the right mismatch on the floor and recognize. They tell me, I've been asked this question a lot on the court when we're teaching, where do I go on this play? And I say, I don't know. What did the defense do? Okay, did they jump out? Did they give you a lane to the basket? If they did, take it. If you set the flare and they fell off, ghost out of it and come off for the handoff. So it's really read and react, and that's what we're trying to teach right now is how to play the game. It's not so much, we're running this play to get the ball to this guy. It's get the ball to the top, get into a split type game, and now figure it out based on what the defense is doing. And we're making progress every day with that. But this isn't just you run here, you run here, you run here, and this is what's going to happen. It's what's the defense going to do, and then we need to take advantage. Draw two to the ball, get the right spacing, make the simple play. We're still, figuring that out. We had 20 assists in our practice yesterday, which I loved, but we had 20 turnovers. It's just way too many, and we've got enough weapons out there where we need to make simple plays and make the right play, and then hopefully force a long closeout and continue to get the dominoes falling and eventually get a great look on the floor. And our guys they're getting better, making progress, but we still got room to grow.
With this roster, is playing faster and I guess that new kind of offense, that's the goal, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a new offense. It's what we've been trying to do, but we were slower last year and we were more methodical. So I do think this group is built, Mike, to play faster and get the ball out quickly and get the ball up the floor and throw ahead and attack or get into our offense from that standpoint. We had a great shot in practice yesterday. We skipped it through to the corner. Casey had a wide open look, and you don't have to run a play when you get a shot like that. And, it is a team that we can take advantage, I think, of some speed because we've got experience as well. And now what's recognizing is the defense back. Do you now make the next play, get the ball shifted, and get the defense moving side to side? But yes, to answer your question, I do think it's a group that can play with good pace because I trust that they'll make good decisions. Exactly. Yes, correct.
Fred, that was a long recovery for Juwan. He explained how he, managed missing the back part of last season and then going through the summer.
Yeah, I'm proud of Juwan. He was very diligent in his rehab, and to get him back on the floor in Spain was very important. It was a big part of the process of getting him the confidence to know he can go out there and bang around on that shoulder and be okay. It's a big part of anybody with a surgery. And when I got my chest split open, I remember taking that first hit, and I said, I'm going to be okay. And that's part of it. So Juwan being able to play in Spain against great physicality against European pros was a great first step in getting him past what he went through last year. And, the other thing that it did, it forced him to get a lot of shots. It was the left shoulder that he hurt, and he really worked on his form. He's shooting the ball great right now. Hopefully he continues on with that. But I'm proud of Juwan for how much work he put into it, and it's great to see him back out in the court again. He just does so many things for our team.
What strides did you see Jamarcus make last season, and what are your expectations for him going into this year?
Yeah, Jamarcus, he's one of the guys that really took advantage of the injuries that we had, and that's always been a message to our players is when opportunity presents itself, take advantage of it. Jamarcus was one of the guys that certainly did that, being thrust into a starting role, really after being in and out of the rotation in the first half of the season. He's going to play with the ball in his hands a lot more this season. He's going to be playing the lead guard, playing the point, and now it's about shifting, because he didn't play a lot of point in high school. He played with a great player in Simeon Wilcher at Roselle Catholic, so playing off the ball and being a shooter-scorer was more what his mentality was. So now the shift in mindset of being the lead guy, making the right play, still being aggressive because he's a great shooter. But yeah, Jamarcus is a two-way player. That's what we love about him. You always know you're going to get a great effort defensively. He can guard multiple positions. And, now the shift of playing the point is the thing that we're really working with him. He was great in Spain in that role, being picked up, played against pressure. We've got Rink Mast, who can bring the ball up the floor. You got Josiah, who I think can initiate offense. Bryce has shown the ability in that role. Boogie certainly can. Sam played point in high school. So there's a lot of guys on the floor that can initiate, but we're asking a lot of Jamarcus right now, and he's handled it beautifully.
Sam, did you see his social media video?
Did you see my social media video? I think the old man's got better moves. Let me tell you a little bit about that. So that was for the Infinity Coaches Challenge. And I flew to Detroit, and we were in the Ford Theater, and it was me, Jamie Dixon, and Fran McCaffrey. And they brought a choreographer in, and they put me in this velour suit. Now, if you know velour, it doesn't breathe very well. So I go in this choreography for 4 hours. Those moves just didn't happen. So I'm in this room for 4 hours, and Fran and Jamie Dixon are in the other room drinking coffee and eating donuts while I'm choreographing. And then I went out, and that wasn't the first take, by the way. Sam's was the first take. So, yeah, he got his rhythm from his mother.
Fred, when you look at culture guys replacing your Vandemels, Walkers, Grissels, what do you point to really set the tone?
Yeah, really, that's a great question, because those guys, I'll forever be grateful to them for what they did for our program, really to shift the narrative of this program, certainly from since I've been here. And, the guys that are back, I think, saw how important the chemistry that they built in the offseason was, and that's what this group has done. And the new guys that have come in, we've got this culture established, and now they have to adhere, to the standards that have been set by this group. The new guys that came in, I would throw every single one of those guys in the mix as far as being a very good culture person. And, the guys coming back, CJ Wilcher has been absolutely phenomenal. He is shooting the ball at an incredible rate, and he's been the most talkative guy on the floor. Rink is a guy that has been a great communicator. Casey is getting him back on the floor just raises the level of everybody, because he's always out there yelling. Sometimes you don't understand it, but he's yelling at the top of his lungs all the time in practice. Matar, same thing. He's out there because he sees the guys in front of him doing it. And when you got older players, veterans, leaders that set the tone on a daily basis, that makes our job so much easier. So from a culture standpoint, I feel really good about this group, similar to what last year's group provided for us. And it's fun to see. It's fun to see Sam going up 28 in his first game. It's great to see Derek out there having a great first game. Emmanuel's still going through his rehab process, but the kid's going to have a hell of a career and going to play this game for a long time. And, that's what it's all about, is setting the tone for the younger guys, building the right habits, and, pass on to the next generation.
Obviously, everyone's different, but broadly speaking, with, the freshmen coming in, what is the learning curve? What are the big challenges, adjustments, them adjusting to college basketball?
Yeah, it's a huge learning curve, Wilson. They come in here, there's a lot of growing pains, especially early in the process. We get on those guys pretty good, but then the older guys pick them back up. And, Eli Rice is a kid that has an unlimited amount of potential. And it's going to take him some time to get there, and we have to be patient with him. But the good thing is he's learning from a lot of guys that have experienced the same growing pains that he's going through right now. Matar, again, he does a lot of really unique, interesting things on the basketball court, but he's got a long ways to go with his development, and that's our job, is to develop him and get him better every day. And you can see strides every time he steps on the floor. So those young guys, I think they're going to be great ones when it's all said and done. Is it going to happen right away? I don't know yet. That'll be determined over the next 40 days before we step on the floor for our first contest. But they're showing huge signs of growth. And the way we structure our practices, now that we have the 20 hours, is we go in the morning, and then they'll come back in the afternoon to get the individual skill work, to really help accelerate that development, whether it's offensively, defensively, just really getting them caught up on both ends of the ball. But we got two good ones as freshmen, and they got very bright futures in a Husker uniform.
This week was the first full practices for Josiah Alex since he was at New Mexico. What does that picture look like now that you actually get to see his full potential?
Yeah, if you've seen his sister play volleyball, he attacks the basket the exact same way that she attacks the net. So he's just one of those guys that every possession he is flying around. When he makes a mistake, it's an effort mistake, and those are mistakes you can live with. He's shooting the ball. I know he didn't shoot it well last year, but when you look at what he did at UMKC, over 35% both those years, he spent a lot of time, his workouts were shooting workouts when he was rehabbing with the ankle and just going through skill 5-on-0 type things. But, now that we get him out on the floor and there's a competitive element to our practices, you just see the edge that he plays with. And he just flies around, he hits guys, he doesn't care, he's talking, he's spitting, he's drooling. I just love the kid. He's one of those guys, man. Him and Rink, when they're out there on the floor together, and maybe Juwan with those guys, we're going to have as physical a team as anybody in our league.
Speaking of physical, through 2 days, how many charges have there?
I think we've taken seven charges. Not quite. Blaze was by far our leader, so we're a little lower this year. But Kale, Sam have done a great job taking some. Jamarcus actually took one this year. Who else, Luca? Matar got one. Yep.
How excited were you to see how guys respond to K-State to get him as part of the operation? And also, is it fun to, watch him like in his range, and as they realize he'll shoot it from anywhere?
Yeah, I think a big part of his success last year was playing on his national team. And you can have a little bit of, sometimes those guys expend so much energy in the summer that they're burnt out by the time that you get them on the floor here. Casey never has a bad day. You see the joy that he goes out there and plays with. Our guys loved watching him. I know a couple of them to wake up at 6 in the morning when his World Cup games are going on to watch him play. And, when you have a guy that has that much fun playing the game, he brings that energy to practice every day. And it's not just what you see on the court in games. That's how he approaches every day in practice. It's how he approaches a shooting contest when he goes out there in his individual skill set. When we shoot our Husker 100 drill, if he doesn't get over 90, he's disappointed, of the 100 game speed shots that he takes. So, it's just it's fun to have him back, and our guys just absolutely love playing with him. And he'll take shots where some people will think, God, how can you shoot? And then it goes in. And, but he has that ability. So you got to live with some of those shots that he takes. And, he was, I think, after the last 6 weeks of the season, he was third in the league in scoring, behind the Player of the Year and Zach Edey, and behind the first-team All-American and Trace Jackson-Davis. So, you got to live with some of those things that he does when he has them on the floor. But our guys need to find him, and he needs to hunt those shots.
Back to Matar for a second. You've been in the sport for a long time. When did you start to see the shift toward players that maybe didn't grow up playing basketball, but you got them when they were 14, 15, 16 years old, they developed? When did you see that begin?
Oh, I don't know if that's a new thing, Sam. It's for Matar, he has not been playing long, but you see the physical tools that he has and how, if you develop him the right way, just how you can mold him into a basketball player. I mean, he's as athletic. I don't know if I've ever had a guy like him that looks down on the rim when he dunks the ball, but that's who he is as an athlete. He's got a 7'3" wingspan and measured almost 6'10", and he's just we were very lucky. And Ernie Ziegler, my assistant coach, that saw him in Atlanta at the NBA Academy, hit me up the first day and said, there's a really intriguing kid out here. And then he watched second day. He said, shoot, coach, I think we might need to offer this guy. And then the third day he said, this kid's a no-brainer. And we got in there early, and he was his first visit, and we were very fortunate to get that done because we needed that depth on our front line. And you saw that last year when we lost Blaze at the end of the year because of the size and physicality in this league. So, he's going to have a chance to play as a true freshman. There's no doubt about that. As, still a very young, evolving type player. But, he plays with a passion. We ran a sprint. We ran a down, back. You got to make it in 22 seconds. He beat everybody by a half a court. So he brings an intangible that we certainly haven't had since I've been here.
When you're looking at players that maybe haven't been playing the game long, is athleticism and wingspan the first two things, or are there other things?
That's an important part of it. You don't want to get a 5'8" kid that's never played before. So, having a big guy that can go out there and just give you because whether he's played the game or not, I can tell you one thing: he's going to be able to protect the rim. He's going to be able to rebound. He's going to be able to catch a lob and dunk it. He's going to be able to run to the rim and draw guys in, maybe open up a three for Casey or CJ in transition. So, you have to have the physical tools. You see that. And then, do they have timing? Can they, when they catch the ball, can they go up quick and dunk it? So those are the things that we're working on with Matar. But yeah, from a physical standpoint, he certainly checks every box.
With Rink, having a big man who can shoot 3-pointers well, which you haven't had a ton of recently, how much does that open up just for everyone else, and how does that affect what you can do on offense?
Yeah, it opens up everything. And when you have, especially in our system with a trail, when you can get the big away from the basket, that's going to open up so many driving lanes and hopefully create a higher percentage at the rim. Casey, one of the most impressive things he did last year, he was second in our league in 2-point field goal percentage because he was such a good cutter. Now you get a guy like Rink that can shoot it. Now his guy isn't clogging up the paint. Some teams played Derek, they would back all the way in the middle of the lane and just clog things up. Derek was obviously very unique and special in a lot of ways, but he wasn't a great floor spacer. And that's what Rink can do, shooting, I think, 36% from the 3-point line last year. And he's got a beautiful stroke. So, we feel good about our system fitting who Rink is as a player because of his skill set of being able to shoot and pass.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you, guys.
We have Jamarcus outside here in the secondary room. We'll hold this for football.